Welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments, the best growth mindset podcast, recognized by Million Podcasts and ranked as a top mindset podcast by FeedSpot. We're proud to be in the top 1% on Listen Notes. Join Dr. Alisa Whyte as we explore powerful insights and strategies to elevate your mindset. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to another extraordinary episode of Mindset Mastery Moments. Of course, I'm your host, Dr. Alisa, and we are here for a conversation that's going to challenge everything you think you know about success, hustle, and what it really means to build a life that works for you and not against you. My guest today is someone who has lived both sides of the story. The climb to the top and the crash that forces you to rebuild everything from the inside out. Joining me and in studio is Michael Coxen, the broker owner of Magenta Real Estate and the Coxen Group, a top producing real estate broker, investor, and mindfulness coach who has closed over $150 million in sales over his 15-year career. But here's what sets Michael apart. A few years ago, life brought him to a complete stop after a near-death battle with ulcerative colitis. He was bedridden and unable to work. That experience didn't just change his health, it changed his entire mindset, leadership, and the way he defines success. Today, Michael's mantra is success starts within. And he's helping entrepreneurs, especially men, rewrite the rules, rebuild from within, and design a version of success that doesn't cost their peace or their health. Michael, welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments. I've been looking forward to this one. Let's do it. Tell us who you are in your own words, what you do, and why you do it.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. White. I don't know if I could say it better than you. That was a heck of an introduction. You summarized it really well. I am based in Las Vegas, a broker owner of a real estate brokerage here, Magenta. Been a lifelong entrepreneur, coach, podcast host of the Mindful Agent. And I really have defined, success starts within. That's just something I try to tell myself every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that, you said especially men, that I work with especially men, and
I love that.
and I don't want my ladies out there to tune out, but you guys have a softer, you're allowed to be softer, you're allowed to have a more sensitive side, you're allowed to be the yin to the yang, and men are supposed to be all yang, but we are all one and need to have balance in our life. And whether you're male or female or something in between, you need to define your own success. So that's just something, it's a mantra I live by because I learned it. I had to, unfortunately, go through a very traumatic experience with my health. You mentioned ulcerative colitis. It literally brought me to my knees. I am a 6-foot male who weighed 115 pounds during that crisis.
Wow.
I was literally
Wow.
skin and bones. When I say it literally brought me to my knees, I once broke my foot getting out of bed. I was so frail. And I also fell on my face getting out of a rocking chair because I had 0 quads and they were gone.
Wow.
It was horrifying. It happened while I owned a business. It was a stationery store here in Las Vegas. It still exists. My wife and I started it. And when you are an entrepreneur and your wife's an entrepreneur and there's no health insurance other than the cheap one you pay for that turns out not to be so helpful, you got to run the business. You got bills to pay. So, I had to keep going. I mean, I have photos of me at work just looking gaunt. And then it reached a point of hospitalization. And then, my wife was either at the store working or at the hospital or at home taking care of me, cooking, cleaning. I literally had a hard time getting out of bed. So unfortunately I had to go through that. So my mission, what I'm here to do, everyone out there, listen to me and those who've been through other traumas. You don't want to get there. You don't. And I'm here to impart some lessons that I learned from that experience.
Yeah, and we started yapping the moment you got in the studio before we hit record, and definitely I just can't wait. I can tell we're going to have multiple episodes in this conversation already. But here's the thing, you chose something radically different after coming through that experience. What I want to ask you, what was going through your mind in that season? What mindset shift helped you start to rewrite your own prescription of life based on where you were at. You mean literally, I'm thinking 6 foot 115, that definitely is skin and bones and almost no like how energy I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go deep early. When you
Yeah.
start to lose your body, literally,
Mm. Mhm.
mindset, I actually began to disidentify with my body, and I
Mm.
realized that I was a soul. I was
Mm.
me, the same me that was 6 foot 115. That's now 6 foot 185. It's the same me that was a 12-year-old boy and a 5-year-old and an infant in the wound. I've always been me. That is the mindset that completely shifted.
Ooh.
Yeah, I believe we're all here to learn lessons, to help one another grow. And I think that's why I'm here, frankly, to talk about this story. So the mindset was I'm a timeless being and I'm here to grow. And I'm going to start with that. So, how did I grow? It began with a lot of visualization. I have very vivid memories of sitting on my front porch, when I could get out there in the sun, just trying to get some
Mhm.
vitamin D on my face
Mhm.
and visualizing healing from the inside out.
Mm.
Literally had ulcerative colitis involves having large lesions, ulcers in your intestines. I just began visualizing those ulcers being healed. Visually, healthy pink tissue covering over the wounds. And I would spend many minutes to hours a day, a week. It was part of my routine, starting there. And you can immediately feel the impact in your body and it starts to relax. So
Mhm.
there's two different ways to we're living, all of us, you, me, and
Mm.
everyone listening. We're either living in resistance or we're living in allowance and letting go.
Mm. Mm.
Resistance causes illness, blockages. When I finally allowed, instead of why is this happening to me? I'm gonna
Yes.
fight this disease. I actually just began to just allow it, like
Yes.
accept my current reality. So wherever you are in your life, in your career, in your illness, in your health, accept it as your current reality. And know
Yes.
that the bad news is everything changes, and the good news is everything changes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're done. If you all we can wrap now
We went
because
deep
listen,
early, doc. I'm sorry.
everything that's what we do. That's what we do. And I'm saying we can wrap this up because like if this just what you just gave us, if we just took that and rumate and just feed on it daily and unpack it and repack it, pack it and repack it, it will transform everything about your life. And if you're watching the video, you're going to see my face, you're going to see my expressions because it sounds like listening to Michael, and I almost teared up because he's telling my story. This is why I became an NLP practitioner and hypnosis and I'm so big on mindset because everything about my journey, the doctor says you won't be able to, you can't, you won't, you can't, you won't, you can't, you won't, you can't,
Yes.
you won't, you can't. And it was all that with everything I've gone through. And that what you just described, Michael, where you said, I literally started to accept and embrace where I was. But then I started to have the vision and create the vision of my cells, of my blood, of everything just functioning healthy. And I would stay with there and enjoy it. But then come back to the reality that I need help to get out of this bed, but it was all in my mind steps to getting to where I was going. But that allowance, and I think one of the glorious you said the good news is that things change and the bad news is that things change because that's all there is. And guess who has no control of us? We don't. What we're in control of is the allowance or the resistance. Really and truly, we get to choose whether we want to. And my partner came up with something. He said, and this was early on in our relationship when I was resisting something in my own journey. And he said, I just want you to think of this as like a tide or a wave, a heavy wave coming against you and you're surfing. You will get sucked up by that wave long before that wave ever says, oh, look, it's Alisa. I'm going to turn around.
Yeah, the wave doesn't know you're you. It's being a wave.
It does, and it's not going to change its mind about its direction.
Mhm.
So that stuff happened. And I say stuff happens, right? And you can use it as a catalyst. I so love that. But here's the thing. There are some people listening. They're high achievers and they're exhausted. They're chasing success that looks good on paper, but they don't feel good inside. What did you learn about redefining success in a way that aligns with your well being and not just work overload?
Yeah, I mean, I then created a business that feels as good as it looks. That was
Mm,
number one. I wanted it to feel right. I think Bob Dylan said, "A man is a success when he wakes up in the morning, goes to bed at night, and in between does what he wants to do." And that was my definition. Like, I just wanna
yes.
live my life how I want to live, regardless of income. And any one of you can have a career, have a business that makes enough income for you to enjoy your life once you define your level of success. So I think we were talking about this prior, but it was ironic when I changed that mindset to focusing on what I enjoyed, what my process was, doing the things I loved, which for me it's people. I'm a active real estate broker. I transact 20 to 40 transactions a year. My favorite part are talking with people and helping people through their problems. I am terrible at paperwork. I do as little as possible. So that's a big thing, was like delegating the things that don't bring you joy. I'll
Mm,
steal one from Marie Kondo. If it doesn't spark joy, get rid of it. And I'm not talking about the clutter in your closet. I am talking about that, yes, but in your careers. If you don't like doing the
yes.
books, get a bookkeeper. You think you can't afford it? Watch what happens when you invest money into that thing. Everything is energy, money, time. You're telling the universe,
Yes.
I am willing to invest into this bookkeeper who likes doing books. I'm going to help them fulfill their dharma and their love and their passion
Come on.
and give them money to do so. And the universe is like, cool,
Yes.
here's money for you to do what you want to do instead. You're opening it
Yes.
up instead of resisting. Like, you
Yes.
can afford it. Take the gamble. I live in Las Vegas. Don't go to the blackjack table. Don't bet on the New York Jets. Go bet on yourself and pay someone to do something you hate and watch the return on your investment. I was always afraid to do that. Always. And
Yes.
the whole experience I went through, I was like, life's too short. Do I want to
Yes.
get sick and die, literally,
Yes.
or do I want to pay someone to do my books? Right. It becomes
Yes.
when you get really ill, things get very clear about what's
Come
important.
on.
Yeah, and, whatever you're
Yes.
going through, trauma, family issues, divorce, death, even if it's not you going through, like, an illness, you see something happen in your life. We all have our stories. My mother, I love her, multiple cancer survivor, this woman,
Mm.
and every
Mm.
I've seen her on death's doornail, and you just go, what am I doing my books for? Like, this person I love is in the room with me, and that's all I want to focus on is her wellness.
Come on.
And when they're in the hospital, it's very easy to do. But when they're not, and you're just hanging around watching Netflix, like, look at your partner, look at your dog, your cat, and yourself, and be like, I'm so lucky to be here.
Yes, the gratitude. And gratitude, again, you all hear it everywhere, but there's something to it that changes everything. It brings you to present, it removes you from past, and it removes you from the wishes for the future, and it brings you to present where there's just an unexplainable level for me, a word I would use for of peace. Because there are times I have anxiety and not in a large scale, but I feel like anytime you're looking forward to the future and you're trying to figure it out and then it's just frustrating you over and over again, that's anxiety in my
100%.
opinion. And if you're looking back and you're that's regret. And that is just stress. And that
Depression.
stress causes disease, depression, disease in your mind, which results as a disease in your body.
Definitely
So if
true.
you can come to the present and drink from the fountain, there is a fountain of youth there. There is a fountain of wealth there in the present, which is practiced a lot. If you don't know how to meditate and stuff like there, like a good meditation is like, oh my goodness, my orange blanket, my wonderful meal that I bought from Walmart. I don't know, whatever it is that you can look at, because you might not have a dog. Like, I don't have my
Yeah.
dogs. My boyfriend has dogs, and I get to spend time with them on and off, but they don't live with me, and I miss them. But when I'm with them, they remind me presence because the way they look in my eyes, it's like they're looking in my soul. And I'm like, I wonder if I look at someone the way these dogs look at me.
Yeah.
What would I see? And I tried it, and I see so much beauty in things. So thank you for sharing that with us. You wanted
Thank
to say
you.
something.
No, I mean, I just got a puppy, so I'm all about what you're talking about. They truly bring you in the present moment. It's a beautiful practice in mindfulness. And yeah, if you're alone, you reminded me of a meditation. I'll try not to butcher it, but it's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's like name just 5
Mm,
things you can see. So this doesn't
yes.
involve you sitting, right, and meditating and om and saying Sanskrit phrases. Just what are 5 things I see? And then I believe it's 4 things I can touch, or
Touch.
or maybe it's hear, and 3 things I can hear, 2
Pick
things
one.
I can smell, and 1 thing I can taste. And it's just an exercise that just brings you into your bodily senses and makes you realize
Yes.
who you are and where you are. So, yeah, I
Mm,
practice, mindfulness a lot, and I'm not a huge meditator. I'm not a yogi doing
and
headstands,
you don't
sitting on a
have to
mountain.
be.
I do a little yoga and a little meditating, but to me, a meditation is just one conscious breath.
It is. I love that you simplify that for us, Michael, because a lot of times we get into all the religious constructs of meditation. And I promise you, every religion has meditation in it. Whether you're a Bible reader, you read the Quran, whatever. Even the Bible talks about meditation on the Bible. So we're not even going to argue, but I love the simplicity of your definition, which is being in a conscious breath and a conscious awareness of your breathing. So whatever it does, whatever you do to bring you there is what you're defining as a meditation.
Yeah.
And I'm with you.
Where am I? That's the number one question. Where am I? I'm sitting at my desk being interviewed for a podcast. Okay. Like now, here, what time is it? It's right now. I am not thinking about my future or my past. It's a waste of time. It'd be disrespectful to you and to me. So that is the number one meditation, is just feeling your feet on the ground and taking a breath and then going from there. It's an incredibly empowering and simple task that we all need to start doing instead of just speaking every thought. It's a big part of mindfulness is awareness of thought,
Mm-hmm.
filtering. Like meditation slows you
Mm,
down where you're not
mm,
acting irrationally, speaking out of turn, speaking from emotion. Meditation has really helped me control my emotion and my word choice, which in business is so critical and in sales is so critical. Like I'm only a good salesman because I don't talk. I'm a like
the opposite.
I just ask good questions and listen, and that's a mindfulness practice. A lot of agents want to, and it's their ego and things, like they want to feel like the master and the intelligent agent who knows everything, and I'm in control of this deal. Or if I'm negotiating, I'm going to win. Like even when I'm negotiating, I just ask the other agent, I'm like, all right, what does a win look like to you? And so many people will give you information if you just be quiet and listen. And that's mindfulness. So that's what I try to teach agents and teach people is like how to apply these Eastern philosophies to capitalism. Like how you can actually benefit financially from being, a Taoist or a Buddhist and taking some
Come
of these
on.
philosophies. Well, I really believe in yin and yang. Like I'm not going to be that mountaintop meditator. I'm not going to be that
It's
Gordon
not who you
Gekko
are.
greed is good guy, but I'd like to
Yes.
be a little bit of both and have nice
Yes.
things and eat nice at nice places and sleep really well at night, knowing I took
And
care
know
of
that
myself.
and know that money is going into your bank account. And I love what you said because that's the juncture I've been at. I did not define it. And I love that you finally give me the words for what my pursuit or my how I'm traveling on this life journey at this time is. I'm not going to sit here and be like, capitalism is bad. It's the bad thing that happened to humanity. It could be if you let it. But I feel like I call us light workers. We are the ones who we're living in a capitalist society, especially if you live in the United States. That's the language of the day. But you can also use that as a tool without it you becoming its tool. Because
Yeah,
that's for me, capitalism is to really put us humans in a place where we're all just a tool for
yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
And I just
Cog in
because
the
I don't
wheel.
want to label it right, exactly. So the smart thing to rise above it is putting this mindful state and understanding who you truly are and mastering ancient wisdom Some people will call it religion, whatever you want to call it. But for me, these teachings are so, and when I say they're consistent across all religions, I like literally know what I'm talking because I literally went out and studied these things in my earlier years. And that's why some people say, oh, it's the same. I'm not going to argue. Y'all can believe what you want. What I can tell you is that they all teach taking care of your mind, body, soul, and spirit. And
honoring thy brother, if you will, or honoring thy neighbor.
These things are all consistent throughout all
They are.
religions and teachings. So we can't, if you bring it, there must be a reason why.
We're focused on the 20% that divides us as opposed to the 80% that unites us
Come on now. Come
on
on.
every subject. Everybody wants the same
Yes.
thing. That's what I've learned. Like in my
Everyone's the
business,
same thing.
I've had the
Yes.
privilege of working with hundreds of human beings, and it just boils down to everyone wanting the same thing. Peace
And
and
when they come
security.
to you as a real estate broker, they're talking about real estate to begin with.
Mhm.
But then when you, as you said, you listen, you start to realize they just really want the same thing I want.
They want security. They want surety. They want peace. They want resolution.
Yes.
And that comes in the form of selling a house. It's not that they want this much money. Yeah, they say that, of course, and they do. They would love to
Yeah.
but you know what? They want the house sold at the right time for their family to make this important move in their life, or in a negative way, maybe to move on from a divorce or a death. They want resolution. They want to lay their head at night and sleep well.
That's the piece.
That's what
the
I try to
piece.
provide. At the end of the day, I hear people and I go, okay, I'm going to take care of you. You can count on me. I'm going to do exactly what you need me to do to get this done for you. That's my sales pitch. And then I mean it and I back it up.
And that sells. And that's why when I tell people I'm not a salesperson, someone's like, you're a great sales. I'm like, I'm not a salesperson. They're like, but how do you get? And then I realized why they're telling me. I mean, I kept wondering, why do people say this? I believe but you just listed. I want to help people solve problems. And when I say I'm going to do something with them, for them, I get it done at all costs. I guess that's that's the best sales. At the end of the day, people want what they need.
And you just have to deliver on your word. Quite simple.
Period.
Because they want
And
surety.
you do
I want
that.
to know. Dr. White's going to do what she said and I'm good. That's all I want to know. I don't need to know the details.
I don't have to like her hair, her religion, her girlfriend or boyfriend. They don't need none of that. That's none of their business. That stuff is all a distraction that we make up for ourselves. For the men listening, I have a special place in my platform for men. So any man or woman or system that provides for men, because I believe that men are the foundations of our society, not in a way that we're like, oh, great man is better or it's man's world. It probably is. But anyway,
James
I
Brown was
believe
right.
that I have a hierarchy in what my beliefs, and these are my beliefs. I'm not saying this is Michael believes, but what if a man is in alignment with himself and his purpose and why he's on this planet, then the woman and the family he builds and the business he builds or the company he runs and his employees are going to end up prospering, right? So there are men who are listening. That's my belief. Again, I'm being very clear. It's my belief. I'm not speaking on behalf of Michael. He'll address it if he wants to. But for the men listening, especially those who are conditioned to equate worth with output, what does it look like to trade that constant pressure? And I get emotional about this, to perform for genuine peace and purpose, because you've mastered it, Mike.
Yeah, I would start with getting very clear on what the definition of output is.
Mm.
Are we talking about money? Are we talking about presence with your family? Cooking a dinner? Playing with your kids? That's all output. That's all productivity. So I'd get very clear on defining what output and productivity is. There's tons of studies about, where the happiness level of income is. And I don't know where it is today, 70 or 90,000. And after that, you don't get any happier. It's really true. Your base needs are met, that hierarchy of needs. You've got your roof over your head. You've got water, food. Now, are you there for your kids? Are you there for your spouse? And are you there for your community? If you don't have those things. My wife and I don't have kids, but we are, I like to say, aunt and uncle of the year every year. We really believe in being there for our family as a priority, being there for our community as a priority. So that to me is the productivity and output. I
Mhm.
feel most successful when I close a deal during the day and make dinner at night, you know? Uh, and you reminded me of the James Brown songs, and I just actually heard it yesterday that, yes, it is a man's world,
So
but
the
it's
man's
nothing
world.
without a woman or a
A
girl.
woman or girl. And that's the part that people forget, right? And I think that when we think of it being more capitalist, it is a man's world, but it's nothing without. Basically, what it's saying that this man's world is still sort of revolving around these responsibilities and the compatibility of a woman and a girl, all the things, however you want to list that. But I feel like our men folk, and because it is a man's world, if a woman doesn't have a job, I find we are so empathetic when a woman loses a job and it's taking months. We're like, oh my God, she lost her job. Can you believe they let her go? She was here for 10 years. But after we do that for about 3 weeks for men, and then we're like, what is he doing? Like, her man doesn't work. Like, she's paying all the bills. And we start getting really, yeah, what's wrong with him? Like, he's lazy or blah, blah, blah. And again, we will look at all the injustices for women. A lot of times we create the women's empowerment and we hear it all day. And I'm like, yo, you can't just build up one side of this coin.
No,
The
yeah,
men
it's how
needs to be
productive
empowered too.
are you? Again, with that definition. So, I mean, in my family, there's very close people to me where the wife is the primary breadwinner, makes the most income. The husband makes some income, but is a father to 2 kids, and his
Mhm.
fatherhood is his job. He is
Right,
productive at fatherhood. He is
right.
a very good, attentive father who is treating raising his kids like a business. And I don't mean that in a cold way. I just mean like he
No.
takes it seriously and he's
Yeah.
productive, and as is his wife in her field. And that's what it's about. It's defining success. It's okay if you
Your
don't make the
terms.
money, as long as you're not a bum sitting around all day doing nothing and
Right,
not
right,
contributing, not being productive, then yeah, you don't have to go earn. And that's what
right,
I think that's the world we're stepping into as men. It's okay to admit that. Like we talk
right,
about, if you're not good at bookkeeping and your business, delegate it. Well, if you're not good at working a job or having a business, then be
right,
productive in your family and household. Like there's so
right.
many ways to be and give output to society. Be loving and kind and available. If you don't have kids,
Yes.
go
Mentor
volunteer.
some young men for volunteering them because
Yes.
you're taking your bills. Like you said, you already hit the mark of success with money if you're making whatever the number is these
Hmm.
days. So I love that. I love that you said, what is output for you? And you said the key words for you.
Hmm.
Because if you want to measure up with the Joneses and keep up with the whatever everyone
Kardashians.
else says. Keep up. I know you can't say keep. I mean, I tell people that all the time. Like I say, I'm like, Joneses don't rhyme with keeping up. Kardashians rhyme, so it sounds better. But I try to exactly. You're going to end up, that's where I think the pressure is really, is when the constant trade is coming from performing according to something that is outside what is good, right, and true for you. So once you determine that and you know what your standard is, then and again, that dynamic is between the man and the woman. Because for me, like I was married once and I know the things that my ex-husband was not into. And as I go down and chip away, and I'm like, well, this man loves to do his job and he's great at his job. And that's his big thing. And the second thing he would be really great at is being a parent. We didn't accomplish that, but that was him. If I'm asking him to go to college and get his degree, when he even wanted to try it, that's a nightmare. That's like you want to deflate him or make him feel miserable is let him have to go sit on a college campus, whether it's virtually or in person. His soul will be crushed. That would be way too much pressure. That will wring the life out of him. And so when you realize that, I'm like, I backed off. I'm like, okay, I'm the one who's getting this education. He likes to get his education through watching
Yeah.
docu-series and reading the newspapers.
Yeah, that's you're projecting what works for you onto other people, which we are all very guilty of,
Yes.
and, our parents are very guilty of.
Oh my gosh, they're the worst.
You it's like, "This worked for me, so here's how it's done. I had to struggle and figure it out, so here you go. Here's the playbook, and you better follow it," as opposed to realizing everybody's got their own way of learning, everyone's got their own journey, and that's something you have
Yes.
to remember. I'm very big on that with all coaching clients and with agents. I start off with what's your definition of success. If at the end of this call or the end of this session, what would mean success for you, as opposed to me just blurting out what I think works for me will work for you.
That's funny. I close out our recording every time with that question, because I think by now we have about 90 something different definitions of success. And I'm like, that is a collage we need to put together.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see, like, that would be its own like
Oh,
mini
it's infinite.
podcast series.
Sure.
Yes, exactly. And so, like you said, you've coached so many entrepreneurs who are doing all the right things, yet still feel stuck. You call it invisible walls. What are some of those walls and how can people start breaking through them?
Yeah, the invisible walls that one needs to break through. I mean, it really has to do with, I think, that childhood programming. You mentioned that word
Mhm.
earlier,
Mhm.
societal
Mhm.
programming. I used to really want like a big house and a view, and I was, I'm in real estate, so of course the house was important to me. And my wife and I were lucky to build what you could consider to be a dream home. Not a big house, it's just the two of us, but like checked 90% of our boxes, right? And as soon as that house was built and we moved in, I was like, this is great. Okay, what's next? And I
Mhm.
realized I had this problem, this
Mm,
wall I kept running into, which was a wall of
mm.
constant dissatisfaction. And for me, I had to break through that. Dude, you're never going to be happy if you can't stop and enjoy what you have and just be okay with it. And I
Wow.
turned around and I'm like, hey, do you want to sell the house? And my wife's like, no. I'm like, okay, so we're still here. What I had learned was I didn't need it. And just
Mm,
achieving it was like the cool part, the goal, like, wow, I did it. Check. But instead of check, what's next? I just went, check. I'm gonna sit back now and relax. And did I stop? No. My success has continued to grow, but and it's because I just detached from the outcome. So
mhm.
that wall was for me. And again, you got to define it for yourself. And that requires a lot of introspection. And I'm here to help you, ask you good questions of you, because every soul is different. Every soul is on a different level and on their part of their journey. But what
Yes.
walls have you created? Has society created? Have your parents created that you are either confined by or afraid to break through? Another one from my personal story.
Mhm.
It's funny. I read that a lot of men will not make more income than their father. I can't quote the stat.
Wow.
There's a psychological invisible wall to earning more than your father. It's a respect issue. It's a subconscious. I don't want to emasculate or make him feel less than by me making more.
Wow.
And I went,
Wow.
oh my God.
What was the percentage?
I don't recall. I'm sorry. I
I'm
didn't
gonna
come
look that
prepared
up
with
because
that.
I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised. Keep going.
The year I read that and went, "That's me." Like, I had been stuck at what I knew my dad roughly had made, I didn't know exactly, and as soon
Right.
as I literally just realized that, I'm like, "It's okay to do better." In fact, that's what he would want, I think, and that year,
Right.
I made more than him, and it never went back. Like, it literally was that wall, boom, broken, and we're off to the races.
That is crazy because when I was younger, we had a lot of training in my church. And I remember my pastor saying, if you want to know, he said this in youth group, if you want to know how the girl you're crushing on right now, what she's going to age and be like and look like, look at her mom. And women, if you want to know what kind of provider the guy you're crushing on is going to be, look at his dad. And I took that wholeheartedly because I was one of those impressionable people. And then I would look around. I'm always doing like these surveys that no one realized I was doing, and I was counting and looking. And I found that to be very, very practical. And it's funny because I look at it and I'm like, okay, so I actually look almost identical to my mom. It's almost spooky. Like, I would get on a call with her and it's like, boom. Or I'd look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I look just like my mom.
Yeah.
And I remember a guy saying, yo, how old is your mom? You gotta be kidding, man. Your mom looks so young. And now I'm in my 40s, mid to 40s, and everyone is like, I have younger guys coming up to me and thinking I'm in my 20s, and I'm like, no, no, I could be your mom. And they're like, no, you can't be my mom. How old do you think I am is what they ask. And I'm like, no, it's how old you think I am, because you really need to stop hitting on me. I really could be your mom. Like, how old are you?
It's a
I'm
compliment.
45. They're like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I'm reaping, that's my mom. And so looking at like my ex-husband, he did not make more money than his dad. And I find that once he made, honestly, I think he did, but just a little bit more. And this is why he would be so comfortable, because, and I said it, I said, for all intents and purposes, you're doing better than almost all the men in your family, but this is how much more you can go. Don't get stuck there.
Yeah, he did.
Because you shouldn't even be comparing for any reason at all. When he says, oh yeah, I'm doing better than that one and that one. Yeah, da, da, da. I'm looking at him like, but you could do so much more. You're just sitting,
Mhm.
And I guess that's that unconscious bias and programming that he's not aware of, or
Yes.
we are not aware of, that we're susceptible to.
It certainly is a subconscious and unconscious thought. It's so amazing. Like a lot of men I talk to are like, oh, yeah, you're right. And those who are able to break through that wall enjoy a lot of success, and it's okay. And you have to remember, again, you're your own person on your own journey, and your dad will be proud of you, not ashamed that you did better, because we're all here to do better for the next generation, I think, and create
Yes.
a foundation for everyone to grow. So that's the goal. And remember that. It just takes a little bit of self work. I'm a big journaler. I'm a big, like, just write it out, sometimes totally freestyle, sometimes
Yes.
structured, but like a lot comes from that. I mean, I'm journaling as we speak right now. It's just like,
So I saw your pen and I was like, what is he doing?
yeah. And
That's
you know,
just
it's funny.
awesome.
I'm going to steal this quote from a notebook I had, but it's like, I'm not writing it down to remember it later. I'm writing it down to remember it. And there's something about just like it
Wow.
sticks in processes. So anything you're stuck on, any one of you out there stuck on
Right.
anything, just grab a pen and paper. Don't type it,
Mm-hmm.
especially on your phone, and just write.
Yes.
I don't care if it's legible, grammatically correct. Just write. There's something that
Yes. I'm going
comes
to
through
slide over
you.
here. These are
Journal.
these are books. These are all journals.
Wow. There you
And they're
go.
not over the years. It's like
Yeah.
just
And
the
like, do
last
you
few
read them
years.
very often?
I go back through them once in a while,
Yeah. And you're like,
but
oh, you
I
see
can
where you
tell you
were.
what's in what. I can pick up a journal and tell you,
Yeah.
because neuroplasticity works so much better. You just, when you write it, like you said, that quote is just so funny, but it's so real, because you're remembering it now. You're actually programming yourself.
Yeah.
When you do it, when you heard it, when you said it, when you write it, that's a 3-layer enforcement to your subconscious that will put you on an autopilot to move in the direction of whatever it is you're hearing, seeing, and writing and listening.
You mentioned gratitude earlier, so that's part of my morning routine is I journal things I'm grateful for, and it's just like amazing. It programs you throughout the day to start looking for, oh, I'm going to put that in a journal tomorrow morning, and you start recognizing things that are happening throughout your day that normally would just pass through unconsciously. But now I'm very like, oh, that was a nice thing that person said, nice compliment. Like
Yes.
I'm gonna remember that for tomorrow, and it just gets a compound effect. Like a lot of these things you mentioned, the gratitude thing is almost like stereotypical at this point.
Yeah, but
But like it is for a reason. It's true.
mm-hmm,
Like I've been
mm-hmm.
doing a lot of these practices that we've all heard on podcasts and read in books, conscious breathing, exercise it's just all these things have become habits, eating right. I realize I look back on who I was when I got sick compared to who I am now. And like, it feels so different, but all I did was just consistently do little things every single day.
Come on.
And
Yes.
all of a sudden, I'm like, I look back 10 years, I'm like, that guy was overweight, ate McDonald's, smoked
Yes.
cigarettes, drank too much. And like, I'm like, look at me now. And
Now, yes.
it's these little daily habits. They're all so
Little
small
daily habits.
that become
Come on.
ingrained.
Yes.
And I journal about that. Like, I'm just grateful that I can recognize my growth. And you mentioned earlier, like, dissatisfaction is a symptom of the driven. Like a lot of
Mm,
entrepreneurs, you get your house, you get your car, whatever, that Rolex, and you're just like, again,
yes.
more, more, more. But that all stops when you just stop and count your blessings and you're like, I got everything I need. Stop.
Yeah.
Unless you really want to. Like, I love, your Richard Bransons and your Bezoses. Like, these guys want to make billions of dollars. Maybe we need to do something about how many billionaires there are. But like, if you want to be a billionaire, give me a good reason. Okay.
Come on. Come on now.
I want to know why, but like,
Yes.
being a millionaire is pretty darn good. You don't have
Yes.
to kill yourself to be a billionaire. And when you just focus on what you're doing every day, I find that I don't want to say it kills your drive. Like, I know
Hmm.
one of you out there is going, well, like, yeah, this guy sounds like he's not motivated. I've never been more motivated, and I've never been more. I have more like perspective on why I'm doing what I'm doing.
More why you're doing, yes.
More,
I
more
challenged them to
value.
just try it your way because I know they're not enjoying themselves if they're doing it the other way.
I would agree. I've never met anybody. A great book, The Five Regrets of the Dying. No one ever said, "I
Mm,
wish I worked more on their deathbed." Zero
nope.
people.
And no one says, "Oh, I wish I would have bought that Lamborghini."
Go. I always
I
say,
think there's more people saying, "I wish I would have driven my Lamborghini."
yeah, it sat in the
Because they
garage.
actually got it. Because right, they were able to get the Lamborghini. They never so it's always about, "I wish I would have spent more time. I wish I would have gone. I wish I would have taken a risk. I wish I would have kissed that girl." I've heard all kinds of things that people have said under that's bad, but it's not accumulation of funds or
No,
anything.
the Lamborghini is a prime example. As soon as I want a Lamborghini, I go, "Why?" Right? And it's literally ego status symbol. Okay.
It is.
If somebody goes, "Well, I want, like, I love cars," right? And they start rattling off the engine and how everything works and what blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, now I see why you want one. This is a passion of yours. Okay.
Yes.
There's a place in Vegas called Speed Vegas. You can go rent one and race around the track today, right? Go do that.
Yes.
Go do that. Go
Yes,
spend
you
whatever
don't
that
need an
is and get it
entire
out of your
you can
system.
drive whatever you want through rental.
And yeah, do a Porsche next weekend and do like a Bugatti and just like have fun and make that your weekend thing. Like, instead of playing
Yes.
golf or watching football, like, go race
It
cars.
would
You don't
absolutely
have to
be my
own that.
weekend thing.
Owning it
Exactly.
is ego. The thrill of driving
Yes.
it is what you want, right? If you're a car guy,
Go
go
fix
go
it.
do it.
And like you said, it would be just you would realize, I'm so glad I don't really like how I've test driven my thing is I go test drive things. I went house shopping for like a year and a half before I was ready to buy a house. I didn't have the money and I was not ready. But we would go every weekend and go house shopping.
Manifestation too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew what kind of house I want. I knew which one of the neighborhoods I'd prefer to live in. And I just like while you could not put the down payment on it and you were saving it up, it somehow you were still feeling like you already had your house, like you already lived in your house.
Being productive. You're
Exactly.
enjoying the
And so
process too.
the process, because honestly, the process of buying a house is way more exciting than moving into one. Because then you have to move all your stuff, unpack, figure out where
Don't say
stuff
that out
goes.
loud. We don't love the
You don't
clients
want to
who
start
take a
house
year and a half.
outing. Don't give her any ideas. I just enjoy the process of us going back and forth about why we needed his or her sinks. Like,
Yeah.
we bonded and we commiserated, and then we also just fought and had fun laughing at each other and
Right.
our likes and dislikes. And that was so much fun. And I remember at one point on autopilot, we already bought our house and we started watching HGTV and we
Mhm.
renovated our house in less than 6 months. It was a brand new house. This house was built in front of us based on what we wanted.
Mhm.
And we still found a way we wanted crown molding, and we
Now we want
start
this.
crown molding our living room, and then it became the entire house, doing the ceiling, and we did it ourselves, changed the paint. We were wild. When I changed the paint, now I needed new furniture because the paint, it was just and that's when I lived in a museum or a mausoleum because I wasn't doing that no more. And I stopped watching HGTV. I've never watched Sonata. It's been over 15 years. I've never watched another episode because that was crazy to me. But I think what it is as humans, like you said, oh, I got the house. Now what? It is the thrill of doing and probably risking and desire is something that lights us up.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thing is figure out where you can use that energy when you know why you're here, what your purpose is, and you use that kind of energy, then a lot of things seem to just fade. Those things that are superficial just fade in the background. It's like bad wallpaper. That's just my idea. So I love that idea. I hope someone take you on to just go test drive it. Just go test drive it because you might
Yeah, go
realize
rent it.
you don't really like Lamborghinis as much as you thought you did because it was only attached to how people will perceive you to be if you drove one more than you actually enjoying one.
Yeah.
Maybe Honda Civics are really your thing.
Yeah. I mean,
That's okay.
for me, it's like I want comfort, whether we're talking about a house or a
I want a
car.
driver.
Yeah, right. Bring on the autonomous vehicles. Like, I don't need to drive. I'm not a car guy. I want
Me
comfort.
either.
I want
I
comfort in
love
my
cars,
life.
but to look at.
That's what the home is, a symbol of comfort. And it's not
Yes.
the size, it's not the paint. I mean, maybe it is in the sense like the paint makes you feel
It
comfortable.
adds to the
Like,
warmth or the
I
cool
got
or
to
whatever it
build
is you're
these
looking
cabinets
for.
behind me. I love this color. This is a
Yes,
comforting
I love
color
that
to me.
color too.
It just
Yes.
makes me feel good. You may hate it. I don't care. Like, it's mine. And it's not that it's expensive, you know. It
Right.
like you got cabinets at your house. It's
I do
just
too. Yeah.
you can look at your house that you currently have and make it the most comfortable palace ever.
Yes.
A
And it could
studio
be a one
apartment.
bedroom studio.
It
It's
can
what
be.
you do with it. Like I listen to people and I'm like, you don't need a new place. You need to be clean.
Yeah, you need to clean this current place. And if you hate cleaning, hire it out. But while someone's cleaning your house, do something you enjoy and love or something productive, whatever you
I
define that.
agree. And that's like I said, I told someone I would I would drive a Toyota if I can not owe someone for it. I can pay it off and I'd rather pay for a driver that takes me where I need to be every day because I can do so much and I don't like driving. I don't like the stress of it.
Yeah.
Give that to someone
Yeah.
else.
Would you rather drive a Bentley or be driven in a Camry?
I'm going to get driven because for me, my entrepreneurial lifestyle and what I do, I can do so much more if I'm going to get stuck in traffic for 2 hours. I can take a nap. I can write in my journal. I can make a few phone calls and have a whole meeting,
Yep.
all that.
Emails. Exactly.
Yes. And then I'll have more time when I get home to spend with people I care about. So I think it's so powerful. So strategy alone obviously doesn't just move the needle when the story running in the back of our minds keep pulling us back. And that's basically what we went on. And I know that somebody's going to walk away from that. But what practices or mindset habits helped you personally shift from fear-based decision making to freedom-based leadership?
Ooh, deep, deep
I
question. So
know.
what made me shift from fear-based to freedom-based leadership? I mean, I was
Yes.
never wow, I think I didn't like how I felt when I had fear-based leaders, when I pressured myself to perform, when I was
Mm-hmm.
focused on the result, and that stressed me out. That kept me up at night thinking, how is things going to go? You know, cold calling clients is something you've got to learn to love in real estate. And I had a fear of rejection.
Wow.
And everybody does. I'm calling you out listening. You have a fear of rejection. You are in a phase of resistance to the outcome as opposed to allowance of the process. So that's
Mhm.
freedom when you're just allowing yourself to fail, when you're knowing
Yes.
and having faith that that is part of the journey is failure. I had a great guest named Jim Slack on my podcast, and I'll always remember that he plans his failures in his annual planning and his business plan. He puts the failures in the plan. And what that
Wow.
does is when you come up against it, you go, cool, check. That got that part of the year over with. And it's
Wow.
as opposed to, oh no, my plan is ruined. No, no, you're still on your plan. You plan to
Oh
fail,
my.
which
Yes.
is ironic. They say failing to plan is planning to fail, but
Fail.
you
Mhm.
should plan to fail. It's
You
going to
should
happen.
because it's gonna
Newsflash.
happen.
And be okay
Mhm.
with that. And it's just like, I don't know, isn't that freedom? Isn't that really freeing to be like, oh, I'm allowed to fail at
Mhm.
this? Cool. Let me make a phone call. As opposed to I have to
Yes.
get this sale. And a lot of people, myself included, I was in a lot of debt. I didn't love where I was financially. I was like, I need to get this sale. And that just reeks of desperation on the phone.
Yes.
It reeks of desperation in the meeting. When you're just calling from a place of freedom and like, I'm just going to make this call and then I'm going to make the next call and I'm going to make the next call. It's like fishing where I'm just going to keep throwing the lines in and have a great time fishing with my buddies. And oh, look, we caught a fish. All of a
Yes.
sudden the fish start biting. So life is energy. So get out of that fear mindset, get into that love mindset, that abundance mindset, do it via journaling, do it via visualization, affirmation, and watch the world unfold. And you have to do it with absolute faith. I am telling you, if you sit and visualize and affirm and journal all day long, ain't nothing going to happen for you. I believe in a combination of mindfulness, visualization,
Mhm.
affirmation, and then couple it with action, and you are unstoppable. It's a guaranteed formula for success.
I love that. Oh, I love that. So here's the thing. Just pitching back to it dawned on me, of course, that you were also already leading and stuff before you got sick.
Yeah.
How did that experience reshape your actual definition of leadership itself?
I mean, that really was relying on your team and leadership. My
Mm,
team, A1 being my wife, Brooke, my partner in that business, you
mhm.
know, a woman, to go back
Yes.
to that topic, like to
Yeah.
say, I don't have to carry this load myself,
Ooh, that's deep.
letting it go. Yeah. As a man, you're
Mm,
expected to carry the load. And when you admit that you need help, guess what? Help
that's
comes.
empowering. Because you don't ask for help because you're weak. You're asking for help to remain strong.
Yeah. And I did it because I was weak. And I drove myself into weakness.
Mm,
And what I am here to tell you is stop now, ask for help. You are not weak, you are strong by asking for help. You will get stronger, your partner will get stronger. The world will be a better place when you ask for help and everything will be
mhm.
easier.
Love it. I love it. It sounds like that whole process didn't weaken your leadership. It actually refined it. It was a
It
refinding.
redefined it for sure. I
Yeah.
immediately I actually joined a real estate team. So you mentioned I did
Mhm.
150 million in sales in 15 years, which if you're a real estate agent, you're like, oh, that's not that great. But what the little thing is about 120 million of that's been in the past 5 years. Like I was struggling for the beginning of my
For
career
the 10, and it's really been the 5.
and I joined a team and I went, I need help. Like, I found a gentleman who ran a great team in Summerlin, which is where I'm based in Las Vegas, and I was like, "He can help me. He is better than me." I admitted that to myself. He is a better real estate
Mhm.
agent than me. I
Mhm.
am going to ask for his help. And I
Nice.
did. And when I did that, he said, "Yeah, I would love to help you." And I joined his team. And when you're in real estate teams, the team leader takes a split. Mine was 50% or
Mm,
25%. I was paying him thousands and thousands of dollars every transaction. And people who were my friends were like, you were doing just fine. Why are you doing that?" Well, because now
'cause I
instead of
wanna be
doing
greater.
2 deals a year, I can do 20, 30, 40 because I have systems, I have guidance and leadership. So as soon as I asked
Come
for help in
on.
my career took off. And the irony is, like, when you look back on when I surrendered to I need help, I received help. And then when that happened, I became his top producer year after year after
Mm,
year. I then became his partner. And then now
mm.
I own the brokerage with my wife. Like this journey that took off from being lost.
Start from saying,
That's
"I wanna be better and I need help." And so you and I were talking backstage, Michael, about as entrepreneurs. I work with entrepreneurs a lot, and that's one of the mindsets that I'm always looking to refine, along with the growth mindset, of course, because I think even if you're working in a corporate environment or else, or whatever that looks like for you, I think if you create and harness the power of an entrepreneurial mindset, it will really help you. But we were talking earlier off camera about, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, about just delegating. I feel like this goes along with the asking for help because a lot of times we only think of help as someone helping you, but asking for help is also in the form of paying someone to do something. And that's how you really build as an entrepreneur. Talk to us about that.
yeah. So I can't remember where I read this, but you want to draw yourself a quadrant. Okay, four sections. Top one is what do I enjoy and what am I good at? That's where you want to
Hmm.
spend most of your time. I believe you called it the zone of genius or the zone of excellence. What am I good at and what do I enjoy? Then there's what am I good at, but I don't enjoy. Just because you're good at it
Mm.
doesn't mean you should do it. If it's sucking your soul, if you're not enjoying, hey, this is not a dress rehearsal, by the way. This is your only life. So just because you're good at
Come on.
something doesn't mean that you should be doing it. Right.
Hmm.
My example is I'm good at video editing. I actually somewhat enjoy it. Like I got a creative side, but I just
Me
delegated
too.
all that because yeah, it was taking too much of my time. It wasn't in that one quadrant. And then I am not good at it, but I enjoy it. Well, that's your leisure. But for me, that's golf. Not good at it, but I enjoy it. But anything in your business like that should, if you want to save that for your free time. And then there's the I don't enjoy it and I'm not good at it. And that circle that quadrant because that's immediately today you are to delegate that to somebody else.
I love that. Those are words to live by, especially if you're starting up a business or you're running one. And if you're struggling, that would be number one. I would say step number one, if you're struggling in your business, is what Michael said earlier. Number one is find a mentor that's better than you are.
Yes.
And number two, give it to someone else. If you're making $10,000 profit and it will cost you $5,000 to get the help you need, watch you level up and make $20,000 profit.
100%. So when I joined that team, one of the biggest benefits was A, the mentor, B, the transaction coordinators. So in real estate, there's people you can hire to push the paper, get the signatures, book the appointments for inspections, order resale packages, HOA demands, deal with everybody, the lender, check in. There's so much that goes on in a transaction that is not required to have a license. So we have a dedicated listing coordinator and a dedicated buyer coordinator at Magenta, and that was a system established and inherited from this real estate team. That is a game changer for me, especially. I was screwing it up. So I forgot to order this thing and it had a deadline. Well, now I just ticked off the client that loved me and we were in such rapport because I'm a good communicator and I'm a good negotiator and they loved the deal I got and they're so happy. But I screwed up a signature and missed a deadline and now they hate me. And I was like, oh my God, like
You see?
there's somebody out here who's really good at getting the signature and the
Yeah, that
deadline
this
that'll
done.
make all of us
Yeah,
look really good and provide a better experience for the client. So whatever that is for you. And this can go into your
exactly.
personal life. Like I think for a lot of people, like house cleaning is a thing that nobody likes to do, right? So like as soon as my wife and I had two pennies to rub together, we got a house cleaner once a month. And yeah, and it wasn't like I'm not sitting on the couch with my feet up looking at her thinking I'm better than her, like I'm some baller with a house cleaner. It was like, so I can do other things, right? Like,
Yes, that's about 4 to 5 hours, depending on how big a house you have.
yeah.
Like
And then you're exhausted
an
the rest of the day.
1,800 square feet home is like 4 hours of cleaning, and not because it's dirty or filthy, but because it needs dusting.
Maintenance.
There's laundry to do, there's cabinets to wipe and reorganize because you kinda move stuff around, maybe clothes
Yeah.
closets to be rearranged. That's a 4-hour job.
And if you're out there saying I like cleaning, then don't listen to me because like that's productive. Like I know
Okay,
my mother
that works for
is
you.
one who
Yeah.
loves to iron because it's meditative and it's quiet and she can be with her thoughts and it's like that's a growth experience for her. It's a pleasurable
I do
experience
it
for
every
her.
2 months, that's it. I
Ironing,
iron all my clothes every 2 months, and I wear them, and then I wash
redo.
them, and then I start doing it again because I don't like ironing. So those like, you guys heard me. Like, I've said it, as soon as I have a certain budget, no, I'm paying people to build funnels and all these things that I can do but won't do because it's not the best use of my time. The next thing is paying people to drive and paying people to clean and
Or trying
iron.
to get the laundry. That's something the wife and I
Exactly,
talk about.
because I realized, like, because of my schedule, I'm doing those things at night, and then I'm going to bed, and I forgot to put it in the dryer, and then I'm like, "What is that smell?"
Yeah, I'm guilty a lot of leaving clothes in the washer.
It's in
You
the
gotta get
washer.
real with yourself. You have to get real with yourself about like
Yes.
we're programmed and we're subconsciously just repeating these same patterns: clean, cook, sleep, work, clean, cook. Just stop and be like, how do I want to live? Okay, I want to hire a cleaning lady. Okay, I can't afford it. Well, where can I find that 100, 200, $300 a month, wherever, whatever market you're
Trust
in?
me, you'll
Well,
find
maybe you
it.
need a smaller house. Maybe you need a different car. Like, do you want the
Hmm.
Lamborghini or do you want a cleaning person? Like, you can find money and find ways to either earn more or save more to pay for the things that will make you happier, and just do it.
Yes,
This is not a dress
just do it.
rehearsal. Like, get rid
This
of
is
things
the
that are
one and
making you
only life.
unhappy, and people, by the way, that are making you unhappy. I'd love to talk about trimming the fat of your sphere. I like to call it in real estate your sphere of influence, those around you that influence you and you have influence over. If you're in sales, you definitely want to have a big sphere of clients, but in your
Clients,
intimate,
yeah.
close personal relationships, maybe it's just getting older. You said you're 45, I'm 41. Like, you realize that you want to have a tighter and tighter circle. So anyone out
Yes.
there of any age, I invite you to look at your friend group and remember this famous quote that you are the average of 5 people you spend the most.
People you spend your most time, Jim Rohn. Yep, yep, yep. I believe it strongly. And it doesn't matter how much you love them and like them. Where they're at, that's the average you're working with.
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate.
And then if you
It's
don't
just
know who those
results.
5 people are, get the journal, get the pen and paper out. Let's go. Like, this is the stuff I'm talking about. It's all self-awareness and self-evaluation, just constantly looking at one's life through a neutral lens, unbiased, being
Mhm.
a kind judge of yourself.
Self. Like we would do for anyone, because some of us are so good at looking over at the people on our social media and think we can just sort them out based on
Mhm.
what we're seeing,
Yeah.
and we don't give ourselves that time of day.
Yeah, like, if a friend calls you right now and they're like, "Hey, I'm having a problem with my spouse," you'd be like, "Oh, here's what you need to do." Like, you'd be very confident in your answer. Do that for
Mhm.
yourself. Do that for yourself once in a while. Like, how can I do better? And it comes from a place of love, not judgment.
That's it. You're being gentle but honest and just working from that place
Yeah.
of what is it?
I'm an open book. I mean, mine, I mentioned, like, carefully choosing words, right? And
Mhm.
filtering. One lesson I learned is that phrase, think before you speak. That's a good start, but what I've been trying to do now is actually breathe before I speak. And that's a conscious breath. So we can breathe in our lungs, of course, but we can also breathe into different, body parts, like relaxation. We can relax our shoulders, breathe into our shoulders, into our knees. There's
Mhm.
very common meditations, guided meditations. But if somebody says something to you that perhaps elicits a response, like an emotional reaction, somebody's mean to you, cuts you off in traffic, if you can take a breath into your heart and then choose your words from your heart, it's a whole lot more powerful than from your
It's
mind.
you speak very differently. You speak very differently. And that is one of the things I just shared with my partner. I said, one of the things I'm very cautious with, even though I want to give support and I want to give feedback, is what am I going to say, how I'm going to say it, and when I'm going to say it. Because timing is a matter thing.
Or am I going to say it at all?
And sometimes, come on now. I would say 50 and because we have a comfort zone with our husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever your partner, a lot of times those people, like, we will think that through before we say it to our staff or
Mm,
supervisor or manager or business partner. But for people who we have these common relationships,
mhm,
familiar relationships,
mhm,
we go
mm.
up.
Yeah, you start to feel like you can just say anything.
Sometimes it's just for you to be aware of. It's not for you to say something. And that is why, for me, that timing is important. Because maybe I'm not to say it all. Maybe I'm just supposed to learn something from it. And you wouldn't know if you're just going right to the source. Let me ask you this. How do you now define success, Michael?
I mean, I said it at the top, the Bob Dylan quote. I mean, just when I go to bed at night, I'm like, did I do what I wanted to do today? And I don't want to paint a picture like I just am living this great life where I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. I face challenges all day with
Hmm.
clients and agents and other agents and family, etc.
Hmm.
So, that's a generalization to say that I do what I want to do all day. But I do take care of myself. I do take breaks in between the things that maybe I have to do as a human walking this earth. I'll go outside and stare at the sky and take a few breaths and drink a glass of water and just be quiet for 30 minutes, for 10 minutes. for 30 seconds. Like I treat myself to naps because I know I'm a sleeper. And if it's kind of like you said, how would you treat your friend? Like, how would you treat your baby self? How would you treat
Exactly.
baby Michael? Well, he needs a snack and a nap, right? Sometimes that solves a lot of problems, but that's,
I love
that
it.
is a big definition of success for me is like, I can open my fridge and there's healthy food in there. I can have a snack and take a nap.
You know what? And that is the truth because a lot of times we define that by a bank account. And I really am, my growth has brought me further. When I look in my life, I think about my bed and the quality of my bed and the
Yeah.
fact that I have
Good
all the
one.
things I need to wash my face at night and I
Right.
have my routine and I have the right hair product and I can open my refrigerator and there's plenty of water and there's food that I love. I can grab an apple. I can, these things, when you start looking, you're like, I am living in abundance.
You are. Well, this is the most abundant, wealthiest time of all history. Even today, there are millions of people sleeping tonight without a mattress. There are millions
Come
of people
on.
without access to fresh water or Apple
Yes.
or air conditioning or cars of any kind or people, family. There are millions of people, and that is a shame. And we are living in a time now where everything is at our fingertips and available to us. We live a very charmed, blessed life. If you're even listening to this podcast on your smartphone, on that NASA
Yes.
grade computer that's in your phone, in your pocket right now, come on,
Yes.
like be grateful, redefine where you are, what makes you happy. Because I guarantee, just like we said earlier, we all want 80% of the same things. That's love, gratitude, relationships with one another, healthy food, nice place to sleep at night. And you got it. The rest is just details, and stop sweating the details.
I call it extras to cherry on top. And you can have a really good cake without any cherry on top.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of my best cake had no cherries at all. And usually it's just one cherry and only one person can have that cherry. So
Good point.
that's not a great idea. So, Michael, I am going to give us mindset bites. So is where I step away from the camera and the microphone, and I give you a time to speak with the audience, 90 seconds of a powerful takeaway that you'd want to share with them as if it was your last time to give the world an important message. Here you go.
For you listening out there, my message to you is that you are more powerful than you know. You are an infinite source of energy, abundance, and love, and it's always available to you. And it's okay when you trip up. I trip up every single day. Keep practicing, stay positive, love yourself, and love those around you. Whatever it is you're going through, you got this.
Yes, yes. Whatever it is you're going through, you've got this. Get into your master plan. I love it. Michael, what's your favorite way for us to connect with you?
Sure. Yeah. If you want to go deeper, you can visit michaelcoxen.com. I've got some free resources and some of the things we were talking about here, how to bring mindfulness into your business. You could book a coaching call there. And I share tips on Instagram, TikTok, all social media at Michael Coxen.
Yes, and we have it all in the description wherever you're watching and looking at this episode and listening to this episode. He also has a podcast that's called The Mindful Agent. You'll catch me there sometime in 2026 as we get our times aligned. And I'm pretty sure you're going to see Michael back here on the podcast because I want to talk a little bit more about what his principles and what he teaches and coaches. We kind of just got an intro to Michael. I'd love to go deeper with him, with his time, and of course, our podcast schedule. Listen, Disruptors, it's been an amazing time with you all. Michael, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your story. You are proof that purpose doesn't just come from what we do. It's forged in who we become when life tests us. If you're listening, remember, if this conversation resonates with you, share it and go to Michael's Instagram at Michael Coxen and let him know you heard us here. Go to his website and get some of the free stuff that he has. He has a new program that he is launching and he's inviting coaches. For the men listening, I want you to connect with him. I encourage you, I admonish you, because I know this man is giving good stuff. And I know that our men need to be in communities and villages where you're not only going to make multiple six figures, but you're also going to be thriving as a man and as a pillar in our society. Michael, thanks again. And I can't wait to have you back on the podcast.
Thank you for this opportunity. And deep conversation is my favorite hobby.
Yes,
And you have absolutely brought that today. Thank you, Dr. Whyte.
You're so welcome. Disruptors, as always, keep mastering your mindset. Think, speak, do, become. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.